children now are in the schools, they have a seat in the classroom. What kinds of actions is the international community taking to make sure they have a high quality education, given that they've missed so much schooling?
Okay. The primary aim last year was get the kids into school, and now that that is in process and in some areas done, then there has to be more of a focus on the quality of education aspect during the course of 2008. And so there are a variety of activities. The first one, I suppose, is system strengthening of the Ministry of Education itself, both from the top, from a central level, but also from the bottom, from the level of the schools. And a variety of partners are involved at both the top end and the bottom end. So that's also increasing the links between frontline schools and the Ministry when there are problems that are occurring. It's working perhaps from the top end on training in skills which will enable teachers to better be able to deal with Iraqi children who are suffering from distress from what has happened to them here and what has happened to them back home in Iraq, so that they can see kids who are withdrawn or isolated. It's providing additional supplies where required, additional classrooms in some cases, and there are promises of the construction of new schools. So there's many different approaches that are being used to try and improve the quality during the course of 2008.
A number of people have mentioned that a lot of Iraqi children likely aren't in school yet. Why? What are some of the reasons why they aren't in school, even though the public schools are now open to them?
I think that the main, well, I think it depends how you look. There might be three possibilities, is the way that I put this forward. The first is that they are involved in some kind of informal work, bearing in mind that their parents are not officially permitted to work here without a work permit, and many Iraqi parents are not working at all, which means that the informal work sector, which often, as I'm sure you're aware, involves children, is certainly one possibility why children are not involved in school at this time. The other possibility is that they are frightened to go to school. And I think it's important to state that many Iraqis have come from years of a Ba'athist regime, first of all, inside Iraq, and then the various problems of the coalition regime and governments inside Iraq. Their distrust of the state is extremely high. Even within their own communities, their trust levels are not high. So their fear, for example, of registering in a school, this exists. It's a real fear that something may actually happen to them if they register their child in a public school. I think the reality is, as we can all figure out ourselves, that the Jordanian intelligence services, if you like, are far more capable of tracking down a family of Iraqis if they wanted to than using the school register at a school with the name of the child on it. So it's in a way, it's just the fact that there is this fear of the state that exists within Iraqis that means it's a significant, sometimes, problem for them to register their children in school. There are other problems related to bullying. There is obvious differences in the accent between an Iraqi child and a Jordanian child. There are differences in terms of the two curriculums between the two countries. So, for example, here, English is studied much, much earlier than it is inside of Iraq. So consequently, there is all the possible factors that you need to put bullying in place inside a school environment and stop kids wanting to actually participate in that school, and perhaps hearing stories about that happening and not wanting to join the school at all. So there's a variety of factors, and depending on your perspective, I think it depends where you sit on the line as to which of those factors is the most important.